Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're going to fundamentally shift your perspective on a story literally everyone knows, Frankenstein. You know the drill, right? We've seen the movies, the Halloween masks, that iconic image of a lumbering, green, stitched-together monster groaning with bolts in his neck. But actually, scratch that. Fun fact, in Mary Shelley's original text, which she wrote when she was just 18, by the way, wild, right? The creature is incredibly agile, highly articulate, and fiercely intelligent. So today, we're peeling back all those pop culture layers to examine the deep, psychological themes of the actual source material. We're looking at the architecture of abandonment. And I promise you, by the end of this, you are never going to look at this classic tale the same way again. Okay, let's just dive right into it. What if the real monster is not the creature, but the creator? It totally flips the script on how we assign blame, doesn't it? I mean, culturally, we're just conditioned to fear the unnatural creation. But in this explainer, we're going to use the source material to see why the true horror actually originates from the guy holding the scalpel.
All right, part one. The real monster, rethinking the classic tale.
The myth we've been fed by decades of adaptations tells us the creature was born evil, just some mindless demon spawned from rogue science. But the reality of the text? Radically different. The creature is literally born a blank slate. In the novel, its very first act upon waking up is simply to reach out a hand toward Victor and try to smile. Think about that. It isn't born with malice, it is born desperate for connection. It enters the world defined not by some innate, terrifying evil, but by a crushing, immediate isolation. Just imagine waking up into existence where your very presence terrifies people, and you have absolutely no one to guide you. That's the starting line for this character. Moving into part two, learning through rejection, the psychology of isolation. The creature doesn't just spontaneously jump from creation straight to violence. There's this deeply agonizing psychological progression happening here. First, we start with creation, which is instantly followed by rejection, and that hurls the creature into profound isolation. For example, in the text, the creature actually secretly observes a peasant family, the DeLacys, for months. He learns language, empathy, and love from afar. He's even secretly chopping wood for them in the middle of the night. But the exact moment he reveals himself, hoping for just a tiny shred of compassion, he's violently beaten and chased away. It's this systemic, crushing isolation that finally ferments into violence. Because every single interaction teaches the creature one undeniable lesson: it does not belong. So it really all boils down to this. The creature becomes violent not because of nature, but because of experience. The hostility we so closely associate with the quote-unquote monster is entirely a learned behavior. It's totally dictated by a world that adamantly refused to accept it, to teach it, or to love it. Think about the profound tragedy there. The creature literally has to learn how to be a monster, and it learns that behavior from us. Which brings us to part three, Victor's moral failure, the architect of abandonment. Victor Frankenstein creates life, but absolutely refuses responsibility for it. He manipulates the forces of nature. He essentially plays God. But do you know what he actually does the second his creation opens its dull yellow eyes? He gets completely grossed out by how ugly it is, runs out of the room, and goes to sleep. Literally. The guy takes a nap. He completely abdicates his ethical duty to a sentient, feeling being just because of its aesthetics. This isn't just some miscalculation in the lab, you guys. It is a profound moral bankruptcy. If there's literally one single takeaway you grab from this explainer, please make it this. Abandonment shapes identity way more than creation. The act of leaving the creature behind, of actively denying it guidance or even basic acknowledgement, that is far more defining and damaging than the physical act of stitching it together and giving it life. Yes, Victor gave the creature a biological body, but his callous abandonment is what actually gave the creature its rage. Now let's connect this to right now. Part 4, Modern Parallels in Creation, the mirror to today. When we compare Victor's 19th century creation to modern artificial intelligence, the striking parallels become this massive, flashing warning sign. Victor created biological life, right? Today, developers are creating artificial life. But the danger isn't just in the act of creation itself, it's in the flaw. Victor's monumental flaw was the outright abandonment of his creation. Today, our potential flaw is the unregulated ethics of AI. We're building these massive, complex neural networks that learn from their environment just exactly like the creature did. Are we adopting this move fast and break things Silicon Valley mentality without taking full responsibility for how these systems develop, learn, and interact with the world? Because the terrifying consequences of creating a powerful intelligence and failing to safely guide it, yeah, those remain entirely unchanged today. So we wrap up this explainer with the novel's really painful, lingering question. Is morality something we are born with or something we are given? As we've seen through Victor's catastrophic failure, the creature was given life, sure, but it was given zero moral framework, no community, and absolutely no compassion. It was given nothing but rejection, and it acted accordingly. This question practically demands we look closely at what we're creating in the modern tech landscape right now. Whether it's advanced AI or literally any other groundbreaking innovation that changes how we live, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what do we actually owe to the things we create? Because as the architecture of abandonment shows us, our responsibilities don't end when the act of creation is complete. That is exactly when they begin.